What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a wonderful night. Now, I'm going to get right into the subject of this video because I find when a lot of people talk about lucid dreaming in general, or they talk about how to lucid dream, it's some channel that just mass produces videos that's littered with graphics that makes things too complex. They throw too much at you. So there are two things that you need to do in order to lucid dream. The first thing you need to do is dream journal. And so the moment you wake up every day, whether you sit down at a desk or you simply use the notes app on your phone, you need to write down everything you can remember about the dreams that you just had. And the reason why a lot of people don't remember their dreams is because it just evaporates after about 30 seconds. So that is how long the memory lasts, and then it's just gone forever. And that's why it's essential that you do it immediately. You can't grab your phone, scroll on TikTok, whatever it may be, just keep hitting the snooze, or just lay there in self-pity while you feel very tired. You have to do it immediately. And another component of this is, since even if people have memories, they could just be little fragments or little shards. And so it doesn't matter how little you write down, because from that base point, each time it will become increasingly more vivid, and the amount you can write down will increase in volume. So it's good to start with just 3 words that you can remember from the entire night, if that's enough, even if it's just, a fragment of a sensation, just anything. And day by day, the dream recall will increase. And 2 reasons why this is so essential. And the first is that if you start lucid dreaming, what's the point of all of it if you can't even remember it? So let's say you get to a point where you can lucid dream regularly. Well, if your dream recalls it there, then you simply won't remember, or it won't be vivid and it will just feel like this distant thing. And second, it puts you in a headspace generally where dreaming is just kind of brought from the subconscious onto the conscious front of your mind. So it just generally puts your mind in a headspace for dreaming, and lucid dreaming in particular. So simple enough. Literally just write down your dreams. It's that straightforward, no complexity. The second part is also very simple, but it's where it starts to get a little trippy. And that is, you need to, as many times throughout the day as you possibly can, do what we call a reality check. Now, very straightforward as well. A reality check is something you do to check whether or not you're in a dream. And it seems kind of silly at face value, because you can usually just answer the question, well, I know I'm not in a dream, because, it's just not a dream. But that is precisely the same thought process you have in a dream, even if there are absurd things occurring around you. And the most consistent, widely used, tested and true reality check is that of looking at your hand and counting your fingers. Now, if you're in a dream, generally you will have either more or less than 5 fingers, or your hand will look disfigured in that chance. I've never had a time where I wake up and I'm like, oh, my hand looked normal in that reality check. And so the goal here is to do it as much as you possibly can, to integrate it as much as you possibly can into your waking life, that when you're in a dream, you look at your hand, you count your fingers, and you think to yourself, oh, well, it seemed obvious that I was in reality, but turns out you're dreaming. It's like everything shatters, you look around you, and then you have that awareness that you are in a lucid dream. So I'll just say it one more time. It is as simple as write down your dreams and look at your hand. That's it. Now, the reason why you can't take it for granted, and the reason why I personally am not in practice, is because it is very difficult for the first thing you do in the day. Getting out of bed is tough, especially when you have a cell phone next to you. So to muster the will to immediately go to your notes app or a journal and start getting things on a page is very difficult. And second, whenever you do reality checks, you have to do it literally every time the thought crosses your mind. Because if the thought comes to your mind and you don't do it, then that's how you stay in a dream, because it doesn't spark that awareness. And so it takes active effort to integrate that into your daily routine and do it consistently, because it's not going to happen immediately. You have to plant that seed and grow it into this consistent thing, which throughout the day, every day, without fail, you engage in reality checks. Now, as I said earlier, it's become sort of a pop culture phenomenon. So a lot of the information you'll find about it on YouTube in particular comes from these massive channels who are flashy and they just go for millions of views. It's not in depth. I don't think it's very valuable, but the OG of YouTube lucid dreaming content is fella goes by the name of Jiz Edwards. I will drop a link here, description. Go to the channel if you want to learn more. That's the place to do it. And the other source, got this book right on me now, is called Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming by Stephen LaBerge, PhD, and Howard Rheingold. Now, lucid dreaming has been around in the Eastern world for a lot longer, because in the Western world, we have this drive to empirically prove things and make them like scientifically objective. So it's something that a lot of people don't believe unless they experience it themselves, because it seems so impossible. But these two gentlemen are researchers who this research started like a couple decades ago, and they delved into it scientifically. And so this has a lot of their findings, methods that you can employ, things that you can do to enhance the clarity or potential in the dream, ways you can apply it to real life skills. So it's pretty cheap on Amazon. I'll drop a link to that as well. But if you are more into videos, watch Jiz Edwards. And if you really want to delve into it from experts, this is the stuff, depthful, from the best source you could possibly have, at least from a Western perspective. Make sure to check it out. Okay, now that we got all of that out of the way, I am going to give you just a few tips, a lot of interesting stuff that happens once you actually snap into the lucid dream. And the first is, it's like you can reset the scenery. You can like teleport to a newly generated world. So if you spin around really fast to the point where it's out of your view, right, then something totally new loads around you. So whenever I become lucid, if I don't enjoy the setting that I see, spin around in circles until something quote unquote loads in that you enjoy. And another interesting little tip is, if you maintain the lucidity throughout the entire dream, you'll notice that the clarity, the coherence starts to fade as ultimately the dream ends, because there are cycles of dreams. It's not just one continuous thread when you're asleep. And so if you rub your hands really fast, generate some friction, it can make the dream last longer. Who knows, maybe it's just grounding yourself. But those are two pretty simple tips that I think can increase the potential, the ceiling of the dreaming quite a lot. Now, one thing that I will end on is, it is purely a mental game. For example, I have never been able to fly in my dreams because there's some sort of like mental blocking inhibition which prevents it. And if you don't think you're going to lucid dream, then you won't. And if you think you will, you will. But it's very difficult to convince yourself. Like personally, I can't do that. So you just have to have an open mind and allow the reality checks to apply themselves. and the limits of the dream, of the frequency, all of that is purely determined based on your perspective, your beliefs, and what boundaries your mind sets, which starts to seem sort of arbitrary. And that's where you delve into the Eastern, realms of dreaming more. But in recent times, with the work of Stephen LaBerge, Howard Rheingold, and its emergence in pop culture, there are empirical ways you can attain lucid dreaming and control it. So, anyways, that's all. Hope you enjoyed. Leave your thoughts. I know this is a very saturated genre, but 2 simple steps: dream journal, do reality checks, check out Jez Edwards' YouTube, check out Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming book, both of which there will be links in chat. And if you're really interested, dive into it. Incredible tool, incredible fun. God bless. Have a good night. Make sure to check the Twitch. Sitting here at 0 subscribers, so your engagement is much appreciated. But signing off from the West Coast.